Do you recognize that your ego is the divine? The ego is the divine. Do you recognize your body is the divine? Do you recognize that your five senses and your thoughts are the divine?
No, I hadn't really thought of it like that. I always think of the divine as something very separate.
Good. So that's the problem. Now we've come to it. Do you recognize the problem? This is the split. So let's heal the split right now. Look at it for yourself. Take a few seconds. Take longer if you want, we can come back to it. So the concept in this teaching is consciousness is all there is. The divine is all there is. All humans, all animals, plants, mineral objects, all galaxies, universes, all parallel dimensions, all creation and destruction, everything, time and space, and the absence of all these. We mustn't forget the absence of things as well. That is the divine in this concept. So if
I make an ass out of myself, and then
totally divine.
feel bad about it.
Divine ass. Yes. And so this is something along the way that we struggled with. I struggled with as well. I thought my ass was too big. I came to realize that some women like my big ass and some don't. It doesn't really matter. But it's always been a divine ass. Nisargadatta Maharaj, my guru's guru. You've heard of him? The book I Am That, Nisargadatta Maharaj. He went into a Shiva temple apparently. I never met him, but I was told this story. He went into a Shiva temple with a couple of his disciples. And he pointed at the lingam, the Shiva lingam, and he said, that lingam and a pile of shit are both God. That lingam and a pile of shit are both the divine. There's nothing that we can think of, feel, sense, experience, that is not the divine. Every thought is the divine. The confusion and the seeking is the divine. So here's the catch. So why would the divine then create a body-mind organism with an ego and at some point in this life start the seeking, start the suffering? Seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Because the divine is both the ridiculous and that which is opposite. It's both a comedy and a tragedy. It is both love and hate. And it has to be, because if we only had one, we could not have the other. That is the basic duality of life. So the mind struggles to accept parts of the duality of life because it doesn't like them. So the beauty of this process is we can not like something, we can even not understand it, but understand and accept that it is part of the divine. And that's sometimes difficult for some minds to accept. But that's what this concept is saying. So the seeker, the very body-mind organism which was apparently born, and then the ego which starts at about 1.5 to 2.5 years old, and the I thought and the me thought which is the source of the ego, and the identification thereafter with everything that comes into its life as experience, is all the divine. Then the seeking is the divine, and that which it thinks it is going to find is the divine. And all the suffering and the stumbling blocks are also the divine. So eventually, John, what are you looking for? And be specific then, be clear what you're looking for. It's like shopping. I say it's like shopping. If you're going shopping, let's say for a new white shirt, yeah? Do you have a particular style in mind? Let's say a collar with a pocket, long sleeve. Yeah? You're not going to go to a sports shop, are you? You're not going to go to the ladies section, unless that turns you on. Maybe it does. You're going to go to the men's section in a shop which sells this kind of shirt. And you already know it's a white shirt, a certain size. It's easy to find. You try it on, certain material, you buy it, and you go home. Very straightforward seeking. Spiritual seeking is exactly the same. And that's why my master used to say, be clear what it is you are seeking. Secondly, be clear what it is you hope to get at the end of your seeking, your spiritual seeking, and what that thing will give you for the rest of your life. That is the key thing, actually. Because along the way, your seeking might change, as mine did. So then we recalibrate the seeking, and we decide, okay, this is now what I'm seeking. Doesn't matter how many times we do that. And then the beauty of it is that then we can decide, well, that book, or that teacher, or that video, or that retreat, or that place, whatever it is not actually going to give me what I am seeking. So it makes the seeking process very, very straightforward.
I'm probably seeking, I'm almost willing to accept, that if everything is the divine, then it's ridiculous to seek.
Don't take my words.
But prior to that,
yes.
5 minutes ago,
yes.
I was probably...
Don't let me give you new seeking, John. Stick to your original seeking.
No, I like that idea that everything is the divine, and that you realize that, and you stop seeking. What I probably seek is what is a peace of mind, is this feeling I'll be in bliss all the time.
Good. Let's look at that.
Stuff like that.
Shall we look at that?
Sure.
You've used two important words there, peace and bliss. Do you know the statement, Sat Chit Ananda? What does it mean to you?
Sat means to know, Chit means... Sat is truth, Chit means to know, and Ananda means bliss. So, to know bliss.
Right. So let's say it's scrambled eggs. Yeah? And we think scrambled eggs come from eggs. But what if scrambled eggs did not come from eggs? What if we've just been told that scrambled eggs come from eggs? And we've been shown these eggs, and then we've been shown how they break, and they go into the pot. But we've never been shown the chicken. It's a ridiculous analogy, isn't it? If you can make sense of that, you're doing very well. So it's not bliss. Bliss is a state that comes and goes. You've had moments of bliss. Does it ever stay? No. Why are you looking for something that doesn't stay? Why are you selling yourself short? Apart from because we've been educated to sell ourselves short. So most spiritual seekers, when they say peace of mind, they're not looking for a temporary peace of mind. We want a permanent peace of mind. We want an unbroken peace of mind. And Ramesh used to quote Jesus Christ, a peace that surpasseth understanding. And he used his own definition, a peace that is not intellectual or conceptual understanding. A peace that surpasses intellectual or conceptual understanding. And Jesus was saying the same thing. There is a peace which is available to all of us, any of us, which is not an intellectual peace. It is not a conceptual peace. And it's certainly not a peace that is going to end after a few hours, weeks, days, months, years. So similarly with an experience. Why are we looking for an experience, oneness or other, that will end? Surely we want to find that in ourselves which does not end, which is permanent. So this is what this concept is pointing to. When it is recognized that what we are is consciousness, that everything is consciousness, that there is no individual author of any action. Consciousness is the author of all actions. There is an unbroken peace of mind. And that unbroken peace of mind, I now like to add, is knowing. Is a knowing which is not an objective knowing. It is not a knowing that comes from a knower, and it is not based on an object which is known. It is a knowing which is always felt, which is always present. And that knowing is unbroken. That knowing is the source of what we are. Wouldn't that be what you want?
Yeah, that sounds like what is that what Buddha was talking about too? What
Pretty
it is
much.
to
Pretty much.
be awake.
That's right. He put it slightly differently, but all the teachers have been saying the same thing in different words.